modern lifestyle requires a lot of energy, backed up by intense production processes, which impact the environment in more ways than one.
The world has realized that you cannot deal with climate change without looking at loss of biodiversity.
On Echo Africa, nature speaks and the discerning mind becomes champion of sustainable living.
One thing we want to do is to change public behavior around recycling.
Watch Echo Africa on Channels Television and find out what nature is saying.
Now we get some perspectives on the state of the nation and how the Tinubu government is piloting the affairs of the nation. And the Inspector General of Police today flagged off training for Special Intervention Squad of the Nigerian Police to fight the spate of insecurity in the country. We shall be dissecting some of the issues and probably offering solutions to the situation. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Segun Sowunmi in Abuja. Tonight, our attention is going to be on the major issues in the country, the critical state of insecurity, the state of the economy, what the president and his team are doing, whether or not they're living up to expectations and up to the bidding. There are a lot of issues to contend with in the nation today. And I don't know, what you as a citizen, what are you talking about? What are your concerns? What are your fears about the manner in which things are going in the country? Tonight also, I will be dissecting for you how the government of President Bola Tinubu should go in some policies and how it can impact or affect the lives and livelihoods of the average citizen, of course, of bringing experience of security to bear. Tonight also, someone who had been a commander of Operation Safe Haven in Plateau will be coming to give us an understanding of how to quell these insecurity in the country, getting solution to some of the issues that we're having in the country now. We have loads and loads of issues to dissect tonight, so stay around with me, everyone, because in these 60 minutes or so, we shall be giving you a ride into the heart of the critical issues on the state of the nation tonight. First and foremost, a group of civil society organizations today were assessing the state of the nation under the present administration of President Bola Tinubu in Abuja. They held this World Press Conference, and I'd like you to listen to some of their own submissions about what is happening in the country as of today.
Our tracking showed that at least 2,423 people have been killed in mass atrocities related incidents, and at least 1,872 persons were abducted since the beginning of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. We are particularly concerned about the continued abduction, noting that at least 230 incidents, in most of which multiple victims were involved, occurred within the first 2 weeks of January 2024 alone.
The conspiracy of the security agents and the financial institutions, we need to dismantle it. The money goes to the banks. The criminals go and collect it. And then you go there and say, can we find the person, the owner of this account? They will tell you it will take 30 days. The Nigerian people have to wake up. It's not a civil society thing anymore. We have to wake up and hold these guys responsible and accountable.
Those are the views of some part of the views expressed today by some civil society organization. I don't know what you're thinking, but just stay calm, take a cup of coffee, a cup of water, whatever the case may be, because tonight we'll dig deep into some of these issues for you. But let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The Nigerian Bar Association section on Public Interest and Development Law is asking the Federal High Court in Abuja to sack the Minister of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, from office for allegedly violating the National Youth Service Corps Act. The organization also asked the court to compel the NYSC to nullify the certificates given to Musawa and the music producer, Kenny Ogungbe, alleging that the issuance of the certificates was contrary to the provisions of the NYSC Act, Cap N84. The plaintiffs in the suit are the chairman of the NBA section on Public Interest and Development Law, John Aikobo Martins, and the association's secretary, Fumi Adeogun. The Supreme Court has reserved judgment on the appeal by the All Progressives Congress and its governorship candidate, Aisha Dahiru, popularly called Benani, against the governor of Adamawa State, Amadu Fintiri. The five-member panel, led by John Okoro, adjourned the matter for judgment after listening to the arguments of parties involved in the matter. The main contention of Benani, through her counsel, Akin Olujimi, at the day's proceedings, is that the controversial declaration by the resident electoral commissioner, Hudu Ari, was lawful. The former Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Mr. Olakunle Oluomo, alongside two other principal career officers of the Assembly, Dayo Samuel and Adeyemo Adedeji, have been docked before a federal high court sitting in Okemosan, Abeokuta, the state capital, presided over by Justice O.O. Okeke. The former Speaker, Olakunle Oluomo, and other officers of the House were arraigned before the court by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, over alleged misappropriation of public funds to the tune of 2.5 billion naira. The River State House of Assembly has accused the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, of engaging in illegality and misconduct with regards to his recent appointments. The Speaker, Martin Amewule, made this accusation during plenary earlier today at the House of Assembly quarters in Port Harcourt, the state capital. The national chairman of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Mr. Sylvester Ezokenwa, is assuring the Independent National Electoral Commission and all Nigerians that the party will continue to be a viable one in the country. Mr. Ezokenwa said this while hosting officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission who were on a verification exercise at the party's headquarters in Abuja. Mr. Ezokenwa says the party is already in the process of reviewing its manifesto to make it more attractive to Nigerians. The People's Democratic Party has flagged off its campaign for rerun elections for Plateau North senatorial seat and Basa Jos North federal constituency, scheduled for the 3rd of February 2024. Supporters of the party from 6 local government areas of Jos North, Jos South, Jos East, Basa, as well as Riom and Barkinladi, which make up Plateau North District, gathered at Langfield Event Center to flag off the campaign exercise. Governor Caleb Mutfwang, while addressing party supporters, expressed gratitude to the people for the support given to the party and urged them to come out en masse to vote for the party in the by-election. The APC National Chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje, says the forthcoming by-elections in Taraba State will serve as a litmus test for the popularity of the party in the state ahead of the 2027 polls. At a campaign rally to woo the electorate for the House of Representatives by-election for Jalingo, Yoro and Zing federal constituency, the APC says it is optimistic its candidate will win the polls and replace the deceased PDP former winner in the 2023 polls.
Then you have it. You've been served with your political roundup stories. So let's get to it, everyone, on the state of the nation. Yesterday, the Minister of Information was giving explanations to the situation of things in the country. There was a statement released from his office. Mr. Mohammed Idris strongly dismissing some claims, but trying to get some commitments from Nigerians by assuring that the government is doing its best. Part of a statement where he dismissed claims of relocation of some departments in the two agencies. Political moves, he said, are not done to marginalize a section of the country. In the area of security, this is what the minister says, quote, "All threats are being boldly confronted. We are taking the fight to the criminals' den with promising results. Within the last week, several bandits, kidnappers, and militants have been neutralized or arrested. And the economy, this is what he said, quote, regarding the economy, all relevant ministries and agencies of the federal government are working in coordinated fashion to bring down inflation, stabilize foreign exchange rates, and create a truly enabling environment for business and investment. The Nigeria that President Tinubu seeks to build is one where no one is left behind. Let's get to talk about these issues. I'm being joined by a member of the opposition, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, Chief Segun Sowunmi, joins us live here in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Segun. It's nice to be here.
I appreciate your time tonight. Give us your own assessment. I mean, this is government saying these are how things are looking. Yes, we know that there is suffering in the land. We know that people are feeling the pinch, but then these are the effort government is putting into areas that are affecting the average citizen. But from your own point of view, as a member of the opposition, do you see in the same way?
Sure. I think that the best thing to say is that the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has dropped the ball and lost the plot. When you come into government and we tell you that don't be too parochial with your appointment, we are front-loading the potential that almost everything you do will begin to have ethnic coloration. Here we are today. You were here. I had this conversation with you. When you take all this finance infrastructure and put it in one tribe, and maybe then you now decide that based on what you are seeing, you need to move CBN, one aspect of it, to Lagos, you need to do this, you need to do that. Little wonder everybody is now thinking that you are running a Yorubanized agenda in the country. But I warned you. So that's them. The second thing is that 8 months is a very long time for you to reflate the economy, especially when you have taken a lot of money through the subsidy program. If it took you only a second, immediately they saw you in and you asked, the subsidy is gone, the subsidy is gone. How much time do you need to tell them that if you don't increase the salary of the civil servant, you are not going to put money back into the system in a sustainable manner? They're there at it for 8 months. Okay, insecurity. I know what the last administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, where they had reached. They had gotten to a point where they bought more equipment, the armed forces were beginning to charge at them, they are taking back territory that were lost, but you know what has happened to them? The entire space now is having to deal with issues that they can never, I repeat, with due respect to them, they do not have the mental capability or the gravitas to solve. People are getting kidnapped in the corridors of Lagos and the Southwest. Maybe the Southwest has even abated a little bit because of the proactive efforts of some of their governors. The entire north central of this country is now like literally a war zone.
There are those who say in government as of today, they say, look, some of these issues are overbloated. They're exaggerated by some Nigerians.
Sure.
There are those in government who say that things are not as difficult or as bad as it is in terms of security.
I don't play the politics of let's pull the country down. I don't even play the politics of hating the commander-in-chief. I'm telling you that you cannot come to the Nigerian people and say to them that a country that has normalized condolences today, condolences tomorrow, condolences the next day, and conversational annoyance of saying highly placed for more than 10 years cannot come and tell us that we are overreacting. Would you wake the dead that we have killed? Look at what has happened in Oyo. Some guy is there as governor, not focusing on the work he's supposed to focus on. They've gotten a clutter of, activities that has, what they're calling preliminary investigation, stockpiling of miners' weapons. That looks like a military-grade ordnance, just looking at the crater in the middle. And you will ask yourself, what exactly is the responsibility of state governors at the subnational level to make sure that they can profile their own state? So, how are you going to solve that? Just before I got into your studio, I was just being told that some kings have been adopted in some parts of the Southwest. It's alleged that some have been killed. Look, my brother, let's go to the economy. You are pretending as if you don't know that over and above the fact that the currency of a country is a medium of exchange, that you do not know that national pride and integrity is also embedded in the value of the currency. Why would you run a situation in the country where the national currency of our country has become the pawn of jokes even by people that are spending CFR? Leave that. Come to national cohesion. Let me tell you, my dear Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you know me, I know you. I have nothing against you. You are president now, do the job. You will do well to go and take a look at how the northern supporters of your party, who worked very hard to bring you in, the kinds of opinions they have about you now, because you have suddenly become a presidency that they think does not give them enough access. Other than that, why will your senators come together under a Northern Senators Forum and begin to bellow like that, since you have a majority? And please, even the management of creative narrative is not being done properly. I find it extremely offensive on behalf of those of them who have been standing with the APC, standing with this party for so long, that suddenly a turncoat Buala is now the one that is getting pictures in the villa, getting pictures in front. Where is Ayo Yalowo, who crosses sword with me all the time? Where is Joe Igbokwe, who crosses sword with me all the time? Where is Al-Hawan, Al-Hassan, who crosses sword with me? These are men who have been just like me in PDP. Ismaila, all of them who have worked very hard for this party. And suddenly, it's Buala now that is eating breakfast in the villa. It's Buala that is eating breakfast in Paris. And you expect people to believe that you know what you're doing?
But you were telling Buala that he should keep seats.
No, listen, that was sarcasm. I don't play that kind of silly games. I don't go to Buala. I don't need Buala for that. I'm being honest with you. I'm telling you things, and I'm telling the president things that he needs to work on so that he can make his party a bit more stable. Leave that ECOWAS. You were here. I was here with you when the issue in the border with Nigeria, when they had their coup, and he was bellowing and all of that prematurely without even getting enough intelligence. Today, 3 countries have left an organization that we started in Lagos by the Lagos Treaty on May 28, 1975, a 49-year-old organization. Why? Because you seem to be giving people the impression that you are so much in bed with France when your African brothers are demanding that they get a fair, equitable placing on national conversation. And you have not even defined what our own foreign policy objective is, at least that of your administration. And before you tell me this site has always been in Nigeria, no, please. When President Muhammadu Buhari was in that villa, almost every president in the West African coast dealt with him with a lot of respect and a lot of deference. Here we are today. Which other area do you want us to talk about? Is it even the general feel of the country? They are creating an impression that this nation is going to become a place where nobody can give them opinion, nobody can criticize them, anybody who criticizes them is going to be abused and all. Where is Femi Fani-Kayode? While Buala is sitting in the villa and eating in France. Do you know the amount of work Femi had to do on this, trying to get them into this government? When you don't treat the people that have been with you for a long time, never leaving you well, you discourage the ones that are going to even put in energy in the future. Where are the people that were working with him with President Muhammadu Buhari? Did your government change power and suddenly become a government that everything that Buhari represented is bad and everybody that worked for Buhari is not available in your cabinet?
Let's bring fairness and transparency into this conversation. Will it be fair to criticize the Bola Tinubu government in the manner in which you have tonight, considering the fact that this government has spent just about 8 months in office, and they will say, the government will say, they're building foundations upon which their manifesto, the renewed agenda, the renewed hope agenda is going to stand on. Is it fair to criticize them in that manner, Mr. Sowunmi?
Do you know why we put the feet of the leaders to fire? It's because as it is, we even over-pamper them with privilege. We give them enough privileges to get the job done, and we don't have the patience to now begin to pamper them and give them excuses.
So you imagine Nigerians are impatient at the moment?
Everybody is impatient. You are impatient. I'm impatient. Do you know what the value of currency is? Do you know what the level of inflation is? Our currency is going down. It's not reached rock bottom yet. We don't even know their strategy to stabilize it.
But you look at the performance on the stock exchange.
Listen, you are building bubbles all over the place. Some of us are not stupid, please. You are building bubbles all over the place. And if it bursts, you're going to have a bigger catastrophe. Pray. Why is your stock exchange doing so well and your risk sector not doing well? Why is your stock exchange doing so well and inflation is the way it is? Let me tell you one of the silliness of their policy. When President Muhammadu, with due respect, people are hearing me, I visited him, they're asking me, they are seeing me appreciate him more. It's because with the benefit of hindsight, you can see what he was trying to do. When he changed the currency, you know what would have happened for us if we had kept it instead of them bellowing and shouting and insisting that they want to bring it back? would have reduced the amount of money in rogue hands that is not playing within the banking sector. The quantum of money that is not playing within the banking sector now is part of the reason why they are chasing the dollar every day. You have increased subsidy. That means that you're getting more money to FARC. That means you are giving more money to state and local government. Have you checked to see what they're doing with it? What you're having is that when you see people just wanting to buy dollar in your country, you will have to ask, has our import need in terms of items increased so much? What exactly are we buying? What exactly are we using the dollar? You should know that that is speculation occasioned by your mismanagement of your financial policy.
Mr. Sowunmi, the president has said that some of the policies of his government are going to buy hard. And it's like the process of giving birth. The pain is going to come, then laughter and smiles are going to come afterwards. Can we as a people give President Bola Tinubu a benefit of the doubt?
Even if we don't give him a benefit, what can we do apart from talk to him and tell him, let's fix our country? It's not about President Bola Tinubu.
Do you believe in his capacity as a leader of this country?
The election is over. This is not politics. This is national development. This is national cohesion. This is national peace. This is regional stability. This is making sure that every part of this country feels that this government and this presidency represents them. I'm not the one creating the narrative of Yorubanization. I'm not. I don't believe in certain, but that's what it's looking like. And people are getting extremely irritated by it. I traveled around this country. I listened to the deeper things that have been said in the far corners of this nation. And I can tell you, postponing the management of the Nigerian economy in such a manner that the Nigerian people can feed, can feel safe, can sleep well at night, or at least can be hopeful, is an urgent responsibility. All their fancy talk, somebody is getting bad. Why were they quick to give themselves in the budget all of the things that will make their own life comfortable now? Why didn't they delay the things that will make them comfortable so that they can pay more attention to the things that will make the Nigerian poor a bit able to say, yes, this government is going in the right direction? And Segun, my attitude has always been, let us surface the issues, let us discuss it, let us even suggest some solutions. But the way they're going about things...
Let me ask you this.
Ask me.
If you look at the personality and the profile and the pedigree of the Commander-in-Chief, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do you think he has the capacity to deal with the problem and the challenges of Nigeria today?
I'll put it to you this way. Some time ago, just after he had won, someone had come to say they wanted to do a documentary of those who have known him for a long time. And for one reason or the other, they came to me. And you know what I said? I said, if Bola Ahmed Tinubu, now president, does not have the capability to fix the economy, I doubt if anybody within his generation can so do. And I also added another caveat. I said, I know that he respects other nations, America and all that, but that I know that he ought to understand that Nigeria has to pull itself up by the bootstrap and fix his own country. You can't run the biggest nation that is black in sub-Saharan Africa, that is very hopeful of the future, on an assumption that people are going to think suddenly the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, his address of visitation is no longer England, our traditional partner. It has suddenly become France. And with due respect to the French, they are the only ones who have to do a survey of all the French-speaking Francophone countries to know exactly what their reputation and their perception is. What is our president doing there 24 hours? Are you then surprised that 24 to 36 hours after he arrived in France, countries in West Africa who feel that France is the issue that they have with all of their own local politics are saying they want out of ECOWAS? Please, let me ask you, should a 50-year-old, near 50-year-old organization just wake up in the morning and say they are going out, and you begin to shop to the diplomacy to say what's going on here? Yeah, I accept that, yes. They've done a coup. The federal government of Nigeria cannot really support a coup. But what happened to all the dialogue processes that's supposed to be going on behind to make your African brothers understand that Nigeria is the nation that would be for Africa?
On the issue of the ECOWAS, the president has made it clear that proper democratic process should be allowed to foster on the continent and in the sub-region, and military coup should be discouraged. If not, if you look at the way and manner military coup are getting more popular in Africa, it gives a lot of worry and is a threat to democracy.
Do you know?
Do you think that that is not charitable enough.
Do you know the strength of a presidential declaration of that nature within the sub-region? It is inversely related to the amount of respect they have for you and your words. If you make statements and you see that your African neighbor, this is, oh God, this is the Nigeria that will sit down in Abuja, will quell coup in Sierra Leone, will sit down in Abuja, will compel compliance in Gambia, will sit down in Nigeria, will resolve issues in Liberia, will sit down in Nigeria. I can't, how many times the president of Nigeria used to come to Abuja just to come and greet the real big brother, which is the presidency of Nigeria. How did we become this? Sheung. If nobody can tell Tinubu the truth, I will, because you see,
how do you summarize it though? What do you think is going on?
No, I think what has happened, I'll tell you. You see, when a leader is coming, and is coming with the mindset that the people that he has been with all of his life are the only ones that know, he's going to have a skewed appointment. And once his appointment is skewed, what he's going to do is that the ones that don't want to talk or even get themselves irritated by what's going on will just take their capacity and move away. And that's what's happening. Look, the kinds of things I'm hearing around Bajabi Amila, the chief secretary, chief of staff, the internet is filled with it. Some of them may be rumors, some of them are things that are still being investigated. But I was here with you when they were asking me, and I was saying, that capacity to do that job does not exist there. And it has nothing personal to do with him. He's my brother, he's my friend, I like him. I like the fact that he has done a lot of things in Lagos, which is, what do you call it, give back. But the office of the National Security Advisor of the government, that even has some potential covetousness in its history, cannot be run by people that are too covetous. If people that are around a man that is as straight as Buhari can be as covetous as we are now finding out, what then do you expect when you put the covetous to be leading the covetous? That's the problem.
So, if you were to advise and in seeking solution, because the country is for everyone.
Of course.
And the best of the country is what we all should pursue.
Okay.
Now, the question will be, how do we go from here as a people?
First things first, I'll first of all say that I've become convinced now, over time, that when you leave the office, especially when it's not a hostile takeover, you cannot disdain the experience, opinion, and suggestion and help of your predecessors. He cannot, if he does that, he does it at his own peril. The experience that people like Buhari bring to the table is a lot. He needs to visit him more, he needs to consult him more, especially when it comes to sub-region issues and the fringes of the north. That's my position. The other thing on the economy, he needs to let the people understand, especially Wale Edun and all of the guy in Cardoso and all of them. He needs to let them understand that I am not trying to build an economy solely for GDP so that Bretton Woods organizations like World Bank and IMF can be giving me pass mark. I'm not interested. I am interested in building an economy that is resilient and serves the poor people of Nigeria and gives them the opportunity to begin to live the type of life that renewed hope is supposed to be. And every second we spend waiting before we begin to give them this thing is too late for me. Look, let me tell you what would have happened if you had increased salaries of civil servants. They would have been getting that increased salary in a sustained manner. The private sector would have followed up. You know, they would have done a little bit more to keep their workforce. That money would have gone back into the market. People would have been, you know, you would have started to see the economy growing. You can't run a big economy on palliative, especially when you are even running a palliative as wholesale instead of as retail. That's that. You need, Mr. President, with due respect, sir, I fear that you may lose the economy or you may not do well on the economy. And that would be like a big shame because I feel that that's your strong point. I truly feel that Bola Tinubu's strong point is the economy. But I expect you to understand that we're not going to create a Nigerian economy that makes the rich richer and then makes the poor more miserable because there are more poor people in this country. You can't be impressing me with the numbers of Aliko Dangote's stock exchange growth in such a short time. What am I going to do with that?
Let me wrap up the conversation with some other issues relating to your party. For example, you visited former President Muhammad Buhari.
Yes, I did.
What were your intentions?
Thank you very much. You know, Segun, you are my go-to man when it comes to honest conversation. I had been seeing for some time that what's going on here, something is not adding up. And then I went to visit the president of Brazil, whom you know I go to often. And I was agonizing to him that, look, mister, you people can feed yourself. We can't feed ourselves. He sent me to his minister of Agri. The guy started telling me things that resembled school feeding program, rice, this. I was almost, and I don't speak Portuguese, so somebody has to be interpreting. I was hearing almost the policies that this guy was saying, is this what Buhari was trying to do? Put that in the bag. The second thing is that I started seeing that, okay, the Southeasterners are quite upset with their desire to be president in this country. And I said, okay, let me go to him and have a conversation with that. Mister, we collaborated with ourselves to give the Yorubas the presidency when we brought Obasanjo, when June 12 happened. Are we going to watch the Southeasterners struggle and be angry and won't figure out a way to figure out this thing? Then the third question I wanted to ask him, very simple. I said, Mr. President, sir, we grew up. I'm the son of a soldier. I went to the military school. I was his head boy. We grew up believing that this country there's one knot that is big that can stabilize the others when they start to quarrel. You people have lost the whole of the middle belt. People are dying there. And you are running the risk that you're going to lose the Northeast. Because when the Northwest stands up for election, the people of the Northeast back them. But when the Northeast stands up for election, you guys pretend as if there's another alternative conversation on the table. Those were the type of questions I was asking.
Did you get the answers?
Yeah, I did, but I would have given it to you, Seun. But then unfortunately, even the obedience and the people that I thought I was, trying to say, let's have a conversation, let's broaden the conversation, let's broaden the discourse. They were damn too angry, they were just abusing. And I said to myself, what's going on here? If everybody wants to be tribal, then I will be tribal too.
What is the most inspiring or the most instructive, conversation, or what the former president said to you?
When I entered into his presence, this guy is so magical. When I left his presence, you know what I said to my friends that came with me? I said, I visited this man only once. Look at how this man is the impact on me. The kinds of things we're saying, his environment, the minimalism, the ramrod straightness. I said to my friend, if I visit this man two more times, if anybody dares abuse him beside me, I can stab the person to death. It was that electrifying. For the first time in my life, I could understand why somebody would say if they abused the prophet, they killed him. Because I just saw this guy.
So you became a Buharist all of a sudden?
I have always been. I was just not in his party. Don't you listen? When he was the head of state, I was in Command Secondary School, Kaduna, getting ready to be head boy. I was not even head boy then. I was still a junior boy. When he started his war against the discipline, I started war against the discipline in the school. War against boys, war against girls. People are here who can testify to that. I'm not the kind of man. I'm not the type of man who doesn't see the need to quarrel with my own parents if I need them to go in a certain way. But I'm not one of those ones who will refuse to give them their feathers or their flowers.
I'm out of time on this conversation, but finally, you dragged your party to court.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Very, very. You can't run.
Have you been able to exercise internal
Everything has been exercised. Listen, Seun. You see, one of the painful things about democracy is that democracy imagines that the political party will throw up the best, and then the people will have to deal with the fait accompli of whatever they throw up. Now, I've noticed that the amount of issues we go and do as a result of parties not obeying their own laws, parties not obeying their self-same rule they gave themselves, is an issue. And how can they sit down there and tell me that they won't call neck of this party for how many months when everybody is screaming and shouting? How are they not able to do discipline? How are they not able to do the simple thing? Before we get to 2027 and become even a sorrier version of ourselves, it's best that people like me who have been here since the beginning begin to put their feet to the fire too. We'll test it in court. I believe that the next zone is that whatever the law creates, the law can dismantle.
Segun Sowunmi, chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Segun, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. We take a break, everyone, and when we return, General Anthony Atolagbe, a former commander of Operation Safe Haven, will be giving us perspectives on how we can solve the problem of insecurity in Nigeria. He has experience on the ground, and perhaps we'll be learning one or two things from him tonight. Join me again, everyone.
Mama, thank you for this your delicious food. But the only thing missing now is better meat.
For this Tinubu government,
things are just getting worse.
Subsidy is removed. Hardship choke everywhere.
I know it doesn't look like it now, but things will definitely get better.
Not till we die.
God forbid. The removal of subsidy is actually for the best. Thank you, ma.
I get scared that talk, you no follow at all.
Ma, Mr. President has great plans. The money for subsidy is being channeled towards social amenities. Refineries are being revamped. Salaries are being reviewed upwards. Roads are being constructed. Small businesses will be given more funding. Security architecture being improved on. Food and fertilizer will be disbursed to farmers.
But them say...
Forget all of that, Papa. When you plant a seed, you give it time to bear fruit before harvest. Have you noticed so?
That's so.
So, Papa, let's also give the president time for his economic strategies to germinate because our renewed hope is here.
Fellow Nigerians, keep believing in the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This message is brought to you by Engineer Mohammed Awal Ibrahim.
Before entering to the university, ask myself one question. What does education mean to me?
Education is a tool to shape my future, fostering critical thinking and problem-solving skills.
University City Campus, Maitama Abuja, is now open. Visit www.philomath.edu.ng to get started.
Now, all of us like to chop better food. Food where they make body tranga and vegetables where fresh like say tomorrow not day. We want make the chocolate sweet the way we go like them. No cubes. Now be the secret. Then make them with correct ingredients like chicken, parsley, garlic, plenty iron corn full and palm to make your chocolate palm bra for you. Come the sweet well. Now be the cocoa. Make we carry salute, throw away give no.
Change your world by changing waiting day your plate.
In today's world, our lifestyle, both at work and at play, depends on connectivity. Our connectivity depends on the devices that make it possible, and these devices depend on electric power. When power fails, our life shrinks, our work drops, and our joy dips. JRB Solar Energy Systems are here to ensure that we enjoy uninterruptible power, uninterruptible joy. Whether you're running a business, an institution, or just a home you return daily to rest, JRB has got you covered. No project is too big for our super digital inverters, long-lasting batteries, and efficient solar panels. Go. Dream on. Change your world. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar streetlights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. With JRB, the sun's gonna shine on everything you do.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's get back to our conversation, and this is particularly going to be on security and how this nation can get itself together and get out of this quagmire. So today, the Inspector General of Police, Kaode Egbetokun, flagged off the training for the Special Intervention Squad. This is what he told them at that event.
With the conception of the SIS, mobilization of officers and men, it is only logical that the men be given specialized training to enable them imbibe new skills and orientation, which will adequately prepare them for the task ahead. Therefore, it's a major milestone towards the full operationalization of the SIS across the length and breadth of our country. As you are all aware, on the 17th January 2024, I formally launched the squad in FCT. Operatives of the squad have since commenced intensive operations, reinvigorating the offensive against criminal elements by taking the battle to their hideouts.
There's been some concerns over our security situation in the country. We've seen what has happened in Plateau State, in Mangu local government especially. The governor there declared curfew, and afterwards there was an attack. The chief of army staff had visited, made a tour of that state, and he was warning and telling the troops on the ground that they should bring down anyone who is having weapons and who are terrorists in the state. Let's get some perspective. There is a man who was a former commander of Operation Safe Haven there in Johnson Plateau State. He joins us tonight to give an understanding of how do we deal with some of this insecurity situation. General Anthony Atolagbe joins us live here in our studio. He's a retired military general. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers.
If I can get your sincere and kind opinion on the way and manner things have gone over the last month, what do you think could have been responsible for, if I say resurgence, I might be right. If I say the spate, the increase or the rise in some of these criminal and violent activities, what do you think could be the cause?
What usually happens will be that when incidents take place in the past, we do reviews. When we do reviews, it takes us to what we call reviewing of our concept. And then when you do a review of the concept, it gives you a new approach to dealing with the situation. This is not to say that those in the aim of affairs are not doing such things. When you do reviews, we call it after action review. And then you have lessons learned. So that leads you to what will be the concept development. Now, these reviews, are they coming out with the deductions that will address the situation? That now becomes what we need to deal with. Okay, for me, I think there's been a lot of efforts that are being put in place by the various commanders on the field, and I just think that certain things need to also be applied. You can change you can amend the status of what you are doing on the ground, or you do a complete overhaul and see how a new approach to doing it might work better. We're not talking about military. We're not directing our speech at the military or the police now. We're talking about the entire security arrangement that is on the ground. For example, the squad that the police IG is launching.
SIS.
Yes, at the federal capital. I think, for me, it's long overdue because these issues continue to reoccur. So why don't you move and go to 6 geopolitical zones and cite a group each with mobility? We're not talking about cars.
It's going to be, they're going to be like an elite squad.
Yes, so you position at least 2 helicopters or 3 with them, so that when there is any report coming from any of the states within that geopolitical zone, they can move in.
In less than 30 minutes.
In less than 30 minutes, less than 20 minutes. So if you have this type of thing in place in the past, I think it will be able to address, to give a quick reaction. Because if you check the December incident in Plateau State, it took so long, and the information will not even come to you on time, as if there is something perhaps that distorts the network around the area, because you just find out that they will have almost completed all the things they want to do before the information gets to the people that are required to take action. So these are some of the areas that we need to start addressing.
You have talked about, on this program, you've talked about how technology can help us to deal with these issues. Let's imagine that we have this elite squad, like you have suggested, to be in the different region of the country, the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. But there are those who will say, and you are one of those who have said, technology is very critical. What is stopping us from acquiring the right technology to deal with this situation and do some kind of area surveillance of our territorial space?
I want to say that I'm not indicting anybody, but if you check, when there is an incident involving high-profile people, you discover that within 24 hours, you started hearing of arrest. But when something happens in other places, it takes days, or perhaps crying and pushing coming from the populace before you start hearing that some people have been arrested. This needs to be questioned, and the right tools needs to be deployed on the ground. We have passed that time when somebody will tell us that we didn't hear on time, or we don't have the facility. I have worked on the field. The facilities are there.
Really?
The facilities are there. They only need to be employed at the right time and at the right place.
There are those who believe that we do not have the manpower. I mean, the right, the wherewithal, the equipment, the hardware, the area surveillance, the drones to be able to do some digital surveillance of the space.
I want to say that the police are better equipped than the military when it comes to that particular, using tech to track phones and the rest of it. So they have some equipment that even when your phone is off, after you have committed an act, they can track your phone.
So it's easy for the police to monitor the kidnappers.
For as long as the battery of that phone is there, that phone, they will get to the point where that phone is sitting down, and I've used it severally, and they will get the person who owns that phone. So let's not, if they say they don't have enough, fine. Let the government get money and equip them so that in every, perhaps maybe every local government where police presence is located, this equipment can be made. But these are reactions to the situation. We are talking about what can we do to prevent some of these things from even taking place at all. And that, I think, should be the business of government now.
So if we are to look at it holistically and how to arrest the situation, because all of a sudden we've started to hear kidnappings in Lagos, kidnappings in Kaduna, in the FCT, in Taraba, in most parts of the country. So it's sort of spreading. And there are those who will say, oh, these things are exaggerated. But in the minds of the average citizen watching tonight, what do you think that the government can do immediately to show that they are on top of the situation?
I will just give you one example. Downtown Manhattan in New York, just a set of four policemen sat down and discovered that the rate at which people are committing crime was too high. And they suggested to the authority that there was need to deploy CCTV across the town. And that's what is going on. And they have helicopter patrols. It's not only when incident happens that you deploy patrols. They have helicopter both day and night flying over New York, over major cities, just to ensure that the place is secured. But we have seen instances in the past where helicopters purchased are used to carry families, except if those things have stopped now. So what do we do? People need to take their job seriously. Government must show the will. And when we are saying will, it's not just on the part of government alone. What about the CSOs? What about the ministries, MDAs? I said somewhere that National Hospital can say, look, for casualties coming from the military, we have created a ward that will take care of any major incident, maybe somebody experiencing serious shots on the body or something like that. So those are some of the things every ministry will key in and say, look, we are providing this level of support. But until you call on some of them, or until you even have to give a mandate to some of them, it's as if it's federal government's job, so it's not our business. Let everything continue the way it is.
So, General, I will imagine that there was a strategy that the service chief led by, the Chief of Defense Staff and the National Security Advisor. I will imagine that this government came with a strategy when President Tinubu was sworn in and when he appointed these service chiefs. I will imagine that they have the modus operandi in which they wanted to secure the nation. Does it look like that kind of strategy isn't working? Maybe they need to rejig or start all over again. What do you think?
Okay, it's just what we are still saying about the police rejigging now. They had come in perhaps dwelling on those arrangements that were in place before now. But seeing the nature of the threats that are coming in, well, let's ask ourselves. We were talking about deployment of CCTV in the correctional services when we had the attack there. We don't even know what has happened. Has anything happened to that man or those individuals that were supposed to carry out, to be involved in doing the right thing at those places? Even this national hospital we are talking about, those are major targets for terrorists. Do they have CCTVs? Our stadiums, do they have CCTV? These are, if you want to do any massive attack on anybody, Wuse Market, do they have CCTV? There's somebody who is sitting, calling himself the person who is giving authority over all these estates. Have they thought about the security of these people? Okay, what about, can't we just look beyond what we are doing before? FCT minister wants to handle everything. How? It's not possible. The security commanders wants to be in charge of, okay, the brigade of guards that we are using here, they are for ceremonials. They're supposed to be the one protecting the president. Most of them are deployed outside. Why can't we have a security outfit? Put a brigade here, put another police command in Abuja, not this administrative one that we are doing, that are kind of to respond to any situation at any short notice. And there is a place you are going to position them. You take some to Zuba area, you put some in, if you go to Rwanda, you understand what I'm saying. If you go to Kenya, you will see what I'm saying. If you go to Egypt, along the street in the market, you will see a policeman in white holding a walkie-talkie in Cairo. And you ask yourself, can't we replicate some of these things?
And I'd like to ask you, you saw what the general who was commanding in Kaduna, who was talking about what happened when the chief of army staff crash landed and died, and was talking about the situation of things, the issues of those who are linked to terrorism, and the names that are, I mean, you being on the ground before, if some of those things came out of that kind of military high-ranking officer, should the government of the day be taking a critical look at those kind of statements?
I watched an Air Force Air Vice Marshal on TV. I was not out, I was just outside and I was watching him, and I was just laughing because maybe he has his own source of information, but I don't think Ali Kefi can just come on air because he has been maltreated, and people should listen to him. He may be saying the wrong thing, as the Air Vice Marshal was saying, but he deserves to be listened to if he has his facts. And that is his statement will perhaps create a pathway to making the military a better place to serve. So we cannot say that a major general will just wake up from sleep, and because he doesn't have something to say or he wants a national honor or whatever, then he'll start talking. I think we should not just rubbish what the guy is saying.
Let me take you to Plateau, where you served as a commander in charge of Operation Safe Haven. We see what is happening now in Plateau, in Mango, and in about 4 local governments. On the eve of Christmas, we saw what happened. I mean, having said in that territory, what do you think should be done urgently to arrest the situation?
Okay, you know, there are measures that were discussed when I was there. This kind of attack took place. The vice president came, the president also came. And the president insisted that, look, it's not even the commander that is the problem, that certain things are wrong somewhere and they need to be addressed. And we have always emphasized this. Except government takes some of these things and delve closely into some of these areas, you will just be dealing with the periphery. There are some in-depth issues that needs to be called in so that people can discuss them and find a way to resolve them. When they are resolved, it will create the pathway to doing other things. What are these other things? Providing security on the ground. Providing security, if you don't have equipment, for God's sake, there's what I call saturation. Fill the entire ground space with with security agencies, NNCDC, police, military, fill the entire space.
But we say we don't have enough.
That is the problem of both the government and the military and the police, because people will keep dying if they don't generate more people to occupy some of these positions. And if you are talking about finances, let's just see. You don't have to depend on government every time to finance you. There are security outfits created by countries around the world. And I will give Rwanda as an example again. They have a lot of their military personnel deployed in all these oil-rich countries that are protecting all their pipelines and their factories. And they are paying them heavily for that. Then, if you see a country like Rwanda having 4 battalions in a UN mission, just look at the kind of money that comes into that country from that UN mission deploying 4 battalions. That money will go a long way to service in every other thing that perhaps the military will be looking up to. In fact, the government will even be benefiting more. But I think maybe we'll just have a company or 2 outside the country as at this moment. Gone are those days when we used to have like 4 battalions in Sudan, 2 battalions in Sierra Leone, in Liberia at the same time. That's about 6 battalions. And if they are well equipped and they are they have all the requirements to deploy on the field, the UN pays massively for that.
So if you are to tell President Tinubu tonight one thing about fixing the insecurity, because there seems to be some escalation, what do you think, as he is the the commander-in-chief of the armed forces tonight, what would that advise? Just in 30 seconds before we close.
If the opportunity is given, that is, if at all it is given, we only need to look inwards, change the dynamics of what we are doing right now, find new things to do. Get the FCT, for example, to have a kind of security outfit. It's not just the president alone and his ministers that are in Abuja. A lot of infrastructures are here. And we can't just afford to let one individual kit himself with IEDs and just go and destroy them overnight. When we have this kind of arrangement on the ground, there will be security. When we go to the various geopolitical zones and position some rapid response team around these areas where there are recurrent activities going on by these criminals, then we know that we are taking new steps, changing the scenario, and then we are making sure that things can get better.
General Anthony Atalagbe, a retired Nigerian military general who's been speaking with us. He was the commander of Operation Safe Haven in Plateau State, sharing perspectives on how to resolve the insecurity situation in the country. Thank you so much, General, for your time tonight.
Thank you very much, and good night, the audience.
Just before we go, the former spokesperson of the PDP and Atiku Abubakar campaign organization, Mr. Daniel Bwala, has again met with President Bola Tinubu. This time around, he's met with him in Paris, in France, on a private visit where the president is there. Bwala said the President Tinubu expressed his hope to lead Nigeria out of the wood. He made this known on his social media handle. And that's how we do the curtains tonight on the program. Many thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm Segun Sowunmi. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye.